Alright, listen up, I'm going to tell you how to spot the difference between the 4 main kinds of medieval churches you get in England. That way, next time you go past a church, you can say, "Ah yes, a typical example of perpendicular Gothic architecture," and everyone will think you're really smart. If it's dark inside and the windows have round tops, that's Norman. We're talking St Bart's, we're talking this chapel inside the tower. There's not a lot of decoration yet, and the windows aren't very big. If the windows look really long and thin with a point on the top, that's early English. The decoration's getting a little bit fancy, but around the windows it's still pretty plain. If they're starting to put loads of these thin windows together and then put a big fancy bit on top, then we're talking decorated Gothic. It's still got to have a point on it though. They're also starting to do more things with the decoration. If you go inside and have a look at the ceiling, they're often doing weirder things inside. Instead of the boring old sexpartite vaults, they're doing Leon vaults and Tierceron vaults. These have way more going on, but they are just here because they're pretty. These are not structural. We're also starting to get flying buttresses, which is where there's a column against the outside of the church that's putting its arm out to hold the wall of the church up. You can build churches taller now with higher ceilings and bigger windows because they've got these little guys holding them up from the outside. And finally, the favourite youngest child, perpendicular Gothic. If it's got loads of vertical lines going on that are really close together, like the architect really wants you to look up for some reason, that's perpendicular, my friend. When they start getting really fancy with it, you get things like fan vaults and pendant vaults on the inside of the ceiling, like here at the Henry VII Chapel in Westminster Abbey. The point over the top of the window is starting to get pretty shallow now, almost like they're embarrassed about it. The Victorians really liked this one, and so they brought it back for Big Ben. One thing to remember is that these are not terms that were used while these churches were being built. These are patterns that people noticed like 400 years later. So there are some churches where you can argue about which one it goes in. Another thing to remember is that all these churches have had bits added on and redone over the years. So a church will often not be entirely from one period. It will have bits from different periods in it. So if you really want to show off, what you need to do is learn the names for all the different parts of the church. So you can say, oh yes, well the chancel is clearly a fine example of early English, but the south triforium has been added much later. Look at that curvilinear tracery. So go forth and sound smart.